beyond the skies. You and I, we're breaking bounds on Baobab.
Thank you so much for making time to be with us today. So we are launching a new phase of the remote work workshop. This is the 6th phase of the remote work workshop on Baobab. I'm so happy you guys have joined. I promise you this is going to be one of those sessions you will look back in your life and say, I'm glad I attended this session. And I am not saying that vainly. By the end of the sessions, I believe that will be your experience. So welcome to all of you. I can see people are joining from Kenya. My people from Kenya, thank you so much for honoring my call and joining this session. I believe it will be a nice session, a transformative one or in your professional career. I can see people are joining from Uganda. I've seen someone from Benin. There's someone who has joined from Cyprus. That is nice. Thank you so much. Sylvia from Nigeria, welcome. We have, I can't read that name, Diko from Burkina, Karibu, welcome. Juliet from Kisii, welcome. We have Tabitha, welcome. So I go straight into the session. We have a lot to cover and I want to give you everything that I have today. I've prepared an amazing session and I'd just like to give you this charge that initially this session is set for an hour and it may go past that. So if you can push, if you can stretch, I'd like for you to stay till the end, because at the end I'll be sharing how you'll receive the resources that are prepared for you for this session specifically. So if you can stretch, if you can push till the end, please bear with us. It will be a worthwhile experience. You will truly benefit from this. And if you have to log off at any point, I like to inform you that this session is being recorded. It will be published on YouTube and we'll be sharing that link. So if you have to log off for one reason or another, it's okay. We have the recordings. It will be on Baobab and I'll be sharing that link with you guys. Don't worry that you'll be missing out on anything. In fact, I'd advise anyone, even those who watch to the end, to at least go and watch it again, watch this session again, because it's one of those sessions that I believe will have an impact in your career. So I want to share my screen and get started. Patmata, karibu sana. Thank you for making time to be with us here today. I believe you can all see my screen. If that's the case, just signal on the chat or use an emoji and I'll be happy to proceed. So thank you so much for those reactions. I can see you have indicated that you can see the screen. So I can see that some people are raising their hands. So I'd like to encourage you to please use the chat. The chat is being monitored by a team, by the team here at Baobab. So if it's something really urgent, you cannot hear me, something like that, you cannot see my screen, I'll be notified and I'll adjust. So any other thing, please use the chat and will be attended to. So I like also to inform you guys that we have live French translation. So we have live French translation. It's available. If you want to listen to this session in French, please click on the more button and then find the globe icon, written interpretation. So click on that. If you need to listen to this session in French, please click on the French language and then listen to it from French. We have live interpretation by the amazing Hamion, who is here today. And if you're on that channel, you'll be listening to this session in French. So I'd like to, first of all, introduce this session. The title is Studying What You Studied in School into Remote Work. So I know most of you are here because you want to venture into remote work and you have something you carry. It could be a degree, it could be a diploma, certificate, and you want to turn it into remote work. How will you do that? I'm going to give you the strategies that will work for you and turn what you studied in school into remote work. So let's get straight into our session today. So my name is Melvin Muna. For those who are meeting me for the first time, my name is Melvin Muna. I am from Kenya. I am a specialist in remote work. I carry 10 years of experience in remote work. I started working remotely in 2016, way before COVID, way before many people realized there's a way to work from home. So I carry 10 years of solid experience in remote work, and I believe I'm qualified to have this session, to coach you guys, to mentor you guys on remote work. And for the last 4 years, I've been teaching, coaching, training, mentoring on remote work. So beyond the years of working and earning remotely through remote work, I've also been coaching the same for the last 4 years. Today, to this date, I've done 105 coaching sessions, and this will be my 106th coaching session. So that is the experience that I carry, and I believe it will come in handy as I deliver these sessions, as I work with you guys to help you advance in remote work. And along this journey in remote work, I have created one course. That course has been published on Baobab platform. It's called it's called SEO content writing. So in this course, I share with you guys, those who've been had the chance to take that course, how you can venture into SEO content writing based on my experience using my custom methods and techniques that have served me so well in that industry. I've also developed two training programs, two custom training programs. One is on remote work. It's called the Remote Professional Program. And another one is called the School of Leadership. So these are programs that I've launched based on my experience in remote work. And the other one is on leadership, because I carry experience in leadership, having founded two organizations. And both of these organizations have had international reach and influence. So I coach on leadership, and through this program, one person will have the opportunity to get mentorship from myself, and that mentorship, they'll have the chance to experience both of those courses, those training programs that I've created on remote work, because it's a mentorship on remote work. But I also like to add leadership, because the success that I've carried is because I led, because I am a leader in that area. And I'll be showing you what leadership means in that space. So when you win that mentorship, you'll get to enjoy both of those programs alongside mentorship to help you actually land your dream remote role. So, and in my work, I've impacted thousands of people across the globe, and I believe I'm on a path to impact the next 10,000 plus. So I run an organization known as the Kingdom Leadership Group, and we have one mission: to help individuals to discover, to develop, and to offer their leadership to the world. Once you become a leader, it's important that the world, your audience, get to experience it, and this is what we are doing. We are anchored on three core values. One is leadership, and the other is service, the other is love. Quite weird core values, but they mean so much to what we do. So leadership means we are driven to become the best in what we are doing. We are driven to become the world's leading provider of career development solutions. Service means we are excited to offer our services to those who need it. And love, it covers how we relate to the people that we work with. We love what we do, first of all. We love the people that we are privileged to serve, and the partners who come on board to help us in our mission. So you can check us out online at the Kingdom Leadership Group.Africa. So you can visit our website to see what we have going on. So I have a promise for you guys. When you embrace the content that we'll be learning today, this is something that I can guarantee you. It's a promise. You will discover your path to remote work. Once you embrace this content, that is a guarantee. You will discover your path. For this phase, you will discover that, because that is the theme for phase 6, your path into remote work. And then you learn how to package yourself for remote opportunities. You learn how to package yourself to land these remote opportunities. And also you'll discover proven strategies to launch your remote career. So that is the promise that I have. And after going through the content, and when I want you to come to me and say, I did not experience this guarantee. This is a guarantee, you will get it. And I want to invite you to share that feedback. Did you really discover these promises that I'm giving you today? So this is what we'll cover today. And it can be, it could be quite lengthy, because I want to really dive deep and share strategies that will work for you. So we'll first of all lay the foundation. What is remote work? What remote work is not? That is it's a foundational that I'll carry every time I teach on remote work, because many people have really not understood what remote work is. They are so casual about it, and this has resulted in people actually not landing opportunities. So I want to lay that foundation on what remote work is, what remote work is not. Then we have two channels here that we'll explore. First of all, an academic background that is remote ready and one that is not remote ready. How do you turn those to remote work? I'll be sharing with you strategies that will help you. So you want to stick to the end to capture both of these knowledge across these two key areas. And then we'll finish the session and I'll be sharing with you resources to actually take steps to actualize your dream for remote work. So I'll be inviting you along this session to give me your feedback, to answer a couple of questions. So just raise your hand. No, use the chat. Use the chat. I'll be reading out your comments when I ask you to share your opinions, your ideas on a couple of things that I'll be highlighting. So let's start with what is remote work. What is remote work? I'm not giving you the definition of remote work is working from home. I'm sure that is something you know. Working from a cafe, that is something you know. Working with clients who are in international markets when from your home country, that you already know. I'm going to give you I'm calling it the structural definition of remote work. So remote work, this is what remote work means. It means you're competing with international talent to prove that you are the right fit for a particular job. That is the foundation you need to have if you're ever going to succeed in remote work. That I'll be competing with international talent to prove that I'm the right fit for a particular job, for a particular opportunity, for a particular role. That is very important, very key. This alters the way you approach opportunities. First of all, it gives you that realization that there are so many of us competing for a particular job. And with that realization, you now package yourself effectively to ensure that you are competitive enough. So understand that if you're ever going to succeed in remote work, you'll be competing with international talent to prove that you're the right fit for a particular job. Also, you need to convince these international employers. You need to convince them to choose you over local talent. So this is an organization in the UK. They have talent in the UK. This is not to mean they do not have talent in the UK. They carry talent in their local areas, but they can choose to work from you from Ghana, from Uganda. So it means you need to convince them to choose you over local talent that they have. When you have this realization, this understanding, you will know the importance of actually developing and refining your skill, such that an international employer, when he's given the chance between you and a local talent, they'll have no option but to pick you, even when you're miles away, continents away even. So it's about convincing international employers to pick you over local talent. That is very important for you to carry at the back of your mind if you're ever going to succeed in remote work. Another thing that I believe defines what remote work is based on what we've covered in point 1 and point 2, you have to develop your skills to meet international standards. The standards at the international workspace is quite high. It is quite high. I've had the chance to work with people from Australia, from UK, from the US, from India, and I can tell you people are not joking. People are really not joking. Especially the people from India, those people are ruthless. They don't just carry quality work, they bring quantity. They can do so much quality work for little pay, do a lot of work. So when you're competing against these people, these are the things that those people who are hiring consider. I can pick someone from India who is giving me quality work, is giving me more work, or I can pick someone from Nairobi who is mediocre. First of all, in the first place, they are lazy, they are not sufficiently developed. That is the environment you're putting yourself at. When it comes to opportunities in the local market, Sometimes it can be easier to land because there's so many things at play. Your tribe can be at play, the people that you know that can come into play, and it can help you land that role. You know the right people at the right places. In the international space, it's all about skills, what you can do well. So it's very important that you carry this understanding that the standards at the international marketplace is quite high for skills. And here's the thing, these standards have not even been set by employers. These standards, the high standards I'm talking about, have not even been set by the hiring organizations. They have been set by professionals like you and me, like you and me. Because when I'm at that international space, I realize that if I'm going to earn from that space through remote work, my skills need to be at a very high level. So I develop my skills. I keep sharing my portfolios. I keep interacting with employers. So someone who has interacted with someone who is so well, so good, so well defined in their skill, then they come and see the skills that you possess, and then they realize that they're not that good. Your skills are not sufficiently developed. They realize that I don't have to settle on mediocre talents anymore. I can actually pick someone who is sufficiently developed from another country. So the talent has set very high standards. That is something you need to understand. And then that remote workplace, this is how I like to define it: an international exchange of world-class skills and talents and abilities for global level pay. Many people are attracted to remote work for the global level kind of pay. You don't want to earn in Naira. You don't want to earn in shillings. You want to earn in dollars. That is nice. It's a global level kind of pay. But for you to receive that, you need to exchange something. What are you exchanging? World-class skills. Nothing more, nothing less. Just world-class skills. This is the foundation I want you to carry if you're ever going to succeed in this remote workspace. And here's the thing, as I'm talking about these points here, this is what I want you to do. Examine yourself. Reflect on your own skills. Can you really say that you're competitive enough in the international space? Can you really say that an employer in the US can forgo local talent in my area of specialization and pick me and have no regrets about it? Those are the questions you need to ask. So as I'm continuing, ask those questions. So what remote work is not? Here's where many people think remote work is, but this is not remote work. Remote work is not a get rich quick scheme. If you come from wherever you are and you are thinking of getting rich, and then you say it's remote work that will make me rich, and you have nothing to actually exchange that for, you will struggle, you will suffer. It is not a get rich quick scheme. Remote work is quite intentional. As I said, an exchange of world-class skills for a global level pay. Also, it's not your first lane to easy money. There is money in remote work, good money, but it's not your first lane to that kind of easy money. Easy money will not come through remote work, because here's the thing, the competition is very, very massive, and people are selfish. This is something you have to understand. People are selfish. They want the best for themselves. So if they have to choose between a well-developed skill and a mediocre one, the choice will be so easy for them. They'll go for the well-developed skill because they love themselves, they want value for their money, and it will not automatically, opportunity will not come to you just because you are working remotely. It's not a fast lane to easy money. I want you to carry that understanding. And then this is something that Africans we really need to overcome: sympathy. We want to earn with mediocre skills from international employers. Probably our orientation towards aid has wired us in a certain way that we don't have to do much to receive money. We don't have to do a lot to live a good life. People will just come and give us money. That's not how it will be. It is not a way to use Simbasit to earn from international employers with mediocre skills. Also, this is something people take when it comes to remote work. A fallback option when you fail to secure local jobs. So you can imagine as easy as it is, I believe it's not that difficult when it comes to the kind of talent, an exchange of talent for money. At the international space, the competition is very high. In the local space, not that much. So if you are going to seek in remote work because you feel as a fallback option, you will struggle. You will really, really struggle. So this is the foundation I want to lay. And with this foundation laid, now we can proceed to the content that I have for you today. So we will be looking how to turn an academic background. You went to school, you've graduated, you have a degree, you have a diploma. How do you turn that into remote work? So first of all, we are looking at a remote. First of all, let's look, where do you get this background, this academic background? So I want you to examine yourself. So to see where you fall. I'm sure most of you will fall in either one or several of these categories, where to receive an academic background that you can turn to remote work. So today I'm on daddy duty, so you'll probably see my daughter coming to engage me, but she means well. So here's where you will receive that academic background that you can turn to remote work. First of all, it's universities. You've graduated at the university. That is a background that you can work with to turn into remote work. So let me just see, I can see a lot of, a couple of charts. So let me just have a quick look. And also, Kevin, please, if there's something urgent, please just feel free. I'm not able to see the charts coming in. So if there's something urgent, please just speak over me and I will answer that. So please use the chat, and Kevin will monitor the chat and inform me if there's anything I need to attend to urgently. So please just give me a moment. Just give me a quick moment. Stop sharing and share again. Okay, so here is where you will be receiving that academic background that we can turn to remote work. First of all, it can be at the university or a college or a polytechnic. So colleges offer diplomas and certificates, and a technical and vocational institute. That is a place to receive an academic background that we can turn to remote work. Another area to focus on, let me just turn off my screen, stop my video. Let me just stop my video. Another area where you can receive an academic background that can be turned to remote work is a professional association or an institute. There are institutes, for example, SCCA, they offer accounting courses. With your background in accounting, which I believe is an academic background, we can turn that to remote work. Also, specialized academies and boot camps. I believe there are some here who are from ALX. So ALX provides training on areas like tech, data analytics. So a specialized bootcamp also gives you an academic background that you can turn to remote work. So I want to engage you here. So feel free to use the chat to respond. What is your academic background and from which institution did you obtain it from? Because this session is about turning your academic background into remote work. So just engage us for a moment. What is your background and from which institution did you obtain it from? I'll be reading a couple of responses. The first few that come, I will read them. So what is your academic background and from which institution did you receive it from? So I can see Nados is saying nursing. From which institution did you receive it from? Hilda is saying Bachelor of Arts in Psychology from Kenyatta University. We have Sylvia is saying food science and technology. We have Maslin is saying informational technology from KCA. Actuarial science from Stacy Moy University. Ivy took a specialized course in VA from ALX. So that is the kind of answers that I was expecting, and I'm thankful that we are together in this. So that is it. That is the background that you are looking to turn into remote work. So now let's proceed. Thank you for everyone who's shared, who's commented. That's amazing. So I want us to look at how to turn an academic background that is remote ready for remote work. So I'll give you my definition of what a remote ready academic background is. And this is it. So a remote ready academic background is one in which in those fields are highly sought after in remote roles. Those fields are highly sought after in remote roles. That is a background that we can say is remote ready. Also, an academic background can be said to be remote ready when the tasks and responsibilities for that field can be performed effectively from anywhere. You don't need to be in a particular space, in a particular setting to perform those tasks and responsibilities for that field. For instance, a field like nursing is not one that is remote ready. But please, if you're that person from nursing, don't log off. I have a strategy for you to turn your because that is a background that is not remote ready. We'll be looking at that later on. So you can see that the responsibilities, the tasks for nursing cannot be performed effectively from anywhere. They need to be performed from a hospital. But we have tasks and responsibilities for a field like software development. They can be performed effectively from anywhere. Okay, so that is a background that you can say is remote ready. And then this is another definition that qualifies an academic background to be remote ready, is the professionals in that field, they have embraced remote work widely, and the industries have adapted to support that shift. Professionals have embraced remote work and the industries have adapted. For instance, something like software development, it was not quite I think it's the professionals who forced that industry to work remotely, because they just don't like coming to an office. You can see the way they set themselves up. Software developers are the most freestyle people, yes, yet they build the most amazing applications and products. So they realize, I believe this is the conversation within that industry, that these people, they don't look well in an office, they don't dress nicely, and the work that they do, they can do it from anywhere. So let's just accept them to work remotely. So these are the three definitions that I can say identify a background as remote ready. So examples here could be software development, it could be digital marketing, analytics, advertising, and PR. Those are industries and fields that are very remote ready. The tasks can be done from anywhere. The professionals have embraced it. And when you look at roles and job openings, most of the times they just seek remote workers or probably hybrid kind of environment. So now I want to introduce to you a framework that will help you turn your background, which is remote ready, into remote work. The first thing you need to do is to get your current skills and abilities. Gauge your skills and abilities. How do you do that? So this framework I'm introducing to you, I've called it the GROW framework. GROW framework, and we'll be looking at what each letter here means. So the first letter, G, means gauge. So you gauge your skills and abilities. This is how to do it. You review some entry-level roles, at least three remote entry-level roles for your field, and then ask yourself, can you confidently perform those tasks and responsibilities? This is a very honest assessment that you need to make. No one else will do it for you. You just have to do it for yourself. Can you confidently perform those tasks and those responsibilities in those roles effectively? to a high standard. If you lie to yourself here and move to the next step, you realize that you'll not proceed further. So it's important that you take a very honest assessment. So just perform a simple search and look for entry level job openings in your field. So if you're a data analyst, look for remote data analyst roles. Look at the job descriptions. Can you perform those tasks? Can you perform them to a high level? So you can answer yes or no. And based on your answer, these are the next steps. If you feel you can perform those tasks, go ahead and apply for those jobs. Go ahead and apply for those jobs. And when you land that job, good for you. Please go ahead with your remote journey. You've finished this whole training session, because the goal is to get you a remote job, and you've gotten that. But the fact that you're here means you've probably done this. You've applied, you've not landed those roles. I'm going to show you why that is the case. When you don't land roles, especially after reviewing a couple of roles, and then you carry that belief that you can perform the tasks, here's the thing. Employers are not yet confident in your skills and abilities. That is just the case. There are so many things that you can, excuses you can bring, but here's the thing. If it's so consistent that you keep applying and not landing remote roles, the employers are not yet confident in your skills and abilities. So when you fail to progress into a into a paying role, we need to move to step 2. But before we move to step 2, what is the outcome for this step? Here is the step where we are gauging your skills. That is step 1. This is what you'll discover. It will give you a clear and accurate representation of your current skills and abilities. That is what this gauging phase will give you. It will give you an accurate representation of your skills and abilities. Because when you examine those tasks and you ask yourself if you can do them effectively, and then you realize that honestly you cannot, that speaks of your abilities. It speaks of your skills. They are not developed enough where you can perform effectively in those remote roles. Another thing this step will inform you is it will inform you the areas of improvement. So you've encountered a couple of tasks, you've reviewed them, but then you realize that honestly and truly, when I'm given this job, I will not be able to do it. When I'm given this assignment in this area, I will not be able to do it. That is it informs you the areas you need to improve. So this step is very important, and I would not advise you to miss it. So another thing this step will give you is it will give you an indication of how you've packaged yourself competitively as a professional. Every word there is important. How you have packaged yourself competitively as a professional. So here's the thing. When you believe you carry the skills that are needed, when you believe you carry the competencies that are needed, that is not enough to land a role. And I'm very sorry to say this, but it's not enough, because employers are looking for more than just skill. They're looking at experience. They're looking at things like confidence. And when all that you bring is skill, someone will have to teach you so many other things. And sometimes people don't have the time and the space to make that investment. So that is something that you'll realize from this step, an honest indication of how you have packaged yourself. So later on, I'll be showing you what a properly packaged remote professional looks like. So bear with me and we will get to that step. And then it will also, it will let you know the skills and competencies employers are looking for right now. So when you review those job openings, you'll see the kind of skills that they're looking for. And probably it's something that you don't have and something that you need to develop in. So this is the outcome of this first step, where you gauge your skills and abilities by reviewing a couple of entry-level remote roles in your field. Are we together? Okay, so just give me a minute. I'll be back in 30 seconds. 30 seconds. Okay, I am back. I am back. Let's proceed. So that first step is one step that people really don't take. People who want to work remotely need to take that assessment, to give yourself a very honest assessment of your skills. And there's that mentorship that is coming up for the winner of for one person who will win the challenges that we'll set. So at the end of this session, we'll have a quiz, and in that quiz, we'll combine the quiz throughout the next three sessions. The one who emerges the best will receive mentorship. So in that mentorship, we will do this assessment with you. We will take a very honest assessment of your skills and to determine how we need to improve, how we need to develop, in what areas and things like that. So this mentorship is something that you really need to strive for. And to win it, you just need to first of all attend all the sessions, because it's based on the quizzes that are at the end of each session, and then excel in those quizzes. And those quizzes are based on everything that is covered here. It's not something outside from what we have here. So do that honest assessment, gauge your skills and abilities. So after that first step, after gauging your current skills and abilities, the next step is R, is to refine your offering. R in our growth framework here means refine your offering. So you've realized that there are areas you need to improve on because you've assessed entry-level roles, the tasks that need to be done in that position. You've felt that it's true that I'm not able to perform certain tasks. It's true that I'm struggling. I'll struggle when I'm given certain assignments. So it will take you back to the place of refinement. Refine your offering. How do you do that? Because for this phase, we are looking at your academic background. So you need to go back and take refresher courses to strengthen your fundamental skills and core competencies. Take a refresher course to strengthen those fundamental skills. One thing I've come to realize about the education system in Africa is it's a lot of freestyle. The students, the professors even, I'm speaking of my experience in Kenya, I don't know elsewhere, but there's a lot of freestyling. You can actually graduate without even attending a class. You can have someone signing attendance sheet for you, even someone taking quizzes for you, even sitting the exams for you. So there's a lot of freestyling, and you can actually graduate, carry a degree, but you carry no fundamental skills. You don't carry the core competencies needed to perform tasks in that field. I can see people are laughing. So this is quite true. I know what I'm saying. So you need to take that refresher course. When you take that refresher course, it will help you develop the skills that are needed for that job. So you're a software developer, you're supposed to know how to review code. Probably that is something you learned in your second year, but you did not pay attention. You are not attentive, something like that. So you need to go back to that course and develop in that area, develop that skill in that area, because it's a core competency that's needed for you to excel in that in the real world. So it can also mean learning tools and technologies that are current and relevant to client needs. Learning the latest tools and technologies that are current and relevant to client needs. I added this point from my own personal experience. I went to the university and I took a course in telecommunications engineering. What we learned in school was how to build, manage 2G and 3G systems. That is what we learned in school. And I have this fear that probably that is what they're still learning right now, because it takes so much to update a curriculum in some of our education systems. So I graduated with skills on how to build, to set up and manage 2G and 3G telecommunication systems. Those dishes, that is how they worked in. But the minute I stepped into the job market, the country, the world was already on 4G. So here I am, a graduate. I believe I'm ready for the job market, but the job market is saying we are in 4G. What skills do I carry? I carry 3G and 2G skills to build up and manage 3G and 2G telecommunication systems. So I took a step back and I paid to take a course to upskill in networking so that I can learn how to set up 4G systems. So this place of refinement could lead you to learn tools that are relevant and current to the needs of the clients right now. Especially now that you are looking at remote work, you probably took a course, learned about a tool and a technology that was primarily to be used in your local country. But now that you are moving to remote work, you are moving to advanced economies and systems, there are certain tools that they have updated, upgraded on. You need to learn them so that you can perform tasks well. And then from that job analysis, you'll identify where you are lacking. You'll identify those areas, so you need to improve and refine your skills in those areas quite intentionally. And what platforms can you use? What platforms can you use to refine your offering? Two platforms here. One, free online courses. Here's the thing. I don't want you guys to have excuses and say the content that you shared required us to sign up for expensive courses, required us to enroll to expensive programs. Not at all. There are so many free materials you can use to upskill, so many free resources you can use to develop your skills, to refine your offering. First of all, free online courses. Baobab has a couple of them. Coursera and LinkedIn, these are just a few that I listed here. I believe when you look at your specialization, you probably know where courses you can take. And then the second point here is current learning materials. Those class notes you never read, they carry information that will help you develop a particular skill that is needed in the job. So you need to find those notes and read them and master them. So if you're going to refine your offering because you've realized after assessing your skills and abilities, there's something lacking. If you're going to refine your offering, these are the platforms that you'll use. They are all free. All it takes is your commitment. So with this framework, I'm telling you, if you come to me and say, I don't have a remote job, I'll just take you through this framework. We'll gauge your skills. We'll gauge your skills very slowly and honestly with you. We see if you can actually perform those tasks. If you can do that, we look at how you've packaged yourself. We look at have you taken steps to refine your offering. So slowly by slowly, we'll be checking out the things that you need to do. So I want you to actually commit yourself to implementing what you learn here. This is how you land your next remote opportunity. So the second step is to refine your offering and using the platforms that I've shared there. So what is the outcome? What is the outcome of this step? This is very important, and I want you to pay attention. This is very, very important. The outcome of refining your offering, refining your skill, refining that background that you carry, the skills you've collected from that background is, first and foremost, it will strengthen your competencies to successfully complete tasks and responsibilities in your area of study or specialization. When you're looking to land a role, you are landing that role to do things, to do tasks. I think people have a very wrong mentality about employment, about jobs. People think a job is, you get a job so that you can take care of yourself. That's not the number one reason jobs exist. You get a job so that you can do a particular task. You can do something, a responsibility. And then after that, you'll be paid for that work that you've done. So when someone is hiring, they're hiring for you to do that job. And when you do it well, they pay you. So if they're not coming to hire you, it means they've realized that you really are not that person who will come to solve the problems that they have, to deal with those tasks and assignments to a high level. So when you take a step to refine your offering, you strengthen your competencies. When a task is handed to you, you can do it well, you can perform it effectively. And I want us to change our understanding and our mentality regarding assignments. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. When someone comes and hires you, I know you can say, I want to be hired so that I can learn. I want to be hired so that I can develop in my profession. But sometimes people just want someone who will come in and solve problems. Someone wants you to come in and change that organization. Someone who is ready to deliver. That is the mentality I want you to carry. That if I go to this organization, I'm going to do things, great and mighty things there, because I'm ready. My skill is ready. I'm ready to deliver. That is how I want you to carry the mentality I want you to carry. If you say, I want to be hired and paid so that I can learn, you will wait. You will wait. You will wait, because once an opening is in an organization has an opening, they've sat down as the entire team and said, we have an issue here, we have a challenge here, we have a need here. We need someone to come in and provide this need, solve this problem. So when they are assessing candidates, they're looking for someone who will step in to do a job and to do it well. You'll get opportunities to learn. There are some organizations where you can be hired and they help you learn and develop. We've benefited from so many of them. But here's the thing. That is not the norm. That is the exception. The norm is people have put up a job advert. They're looking for someone to come in and do a job. They want you to come in and do a job. That is the norm. That is how hiring is done. So when you take a step to refine, you strengthen your competencies to successfully. At the end of this session, I'll be asking you guys to receive, to make to fill a form to receive resources. One of them is this presentation. I want you to please go through it very carefully. Every word here is important. I've taken time to go through almost everything that's here. In fact, everything. And everything here has its place. Strengthens your competencies to successfully complete tasks and responsibilities in your area of specialization. Another outcome from this phase is you'll earn certifications that add weight and credibility to your job applications. This is something you need to stay competitive. Your competitiveness matters. It's quite important. And that certification that you add there from a credible institution, it can set you apart. Okay, so that is the outcome for step 2 of the GROW framework that I'm sharing with you. Then we move on to a point here. Is it okay to apply for remote roles after successfully completing this stage? So there is completing this stage and there's successfully completing this stage. Successfully completing this stage is you've refined it to a level where you are so confident in your ability to do tasks and assignment in that field. So is it okay to apply at this stage? I'd say no. I will not recommend it, because what you carry is just the bare minimum. What you have is the foundational knowledge and competencies for what you are doing. That is the bare minimum, especially in the international job market. You've still not packaged yourself competitively. In the next few slides, we'll look at that package, that profile of someone who has packaged themselves well for the international job market. So at this point, I would not advise you to apply. If you go ahead and apply, you will encounter a lot of challenges. You will not easily land opportunities. And here's the thing. I don't want testimonies where I've applied for 1,000 roles, I've landed one. That is not what we're doing here. That is not I said this when I was doing a masterclass for LX. We don't want those kind of testimonies. They don't uplift anyone. The testimonies I want from you guys is I have landed every role I've applied for. For you to get to that place, you must be so well developed that when you apply for a position, you are able to land opportunities easily. So those are the testimonies we are going after, that I have applied for 2 roles and I've landed those 2 roles in a year. So we are not looking for people to apply for 1,000 roles here. We are applying for 2 3, we are landing them. Okay, who is with me? Yeah, I can see a couple of responses. So I can see people are raising hands. Please use the chat. Let me just take a moment here because we've done with step 2. Let me just take a moment to look at the chat and see if there's anything for me to address.
Meeting.
Okay, I can see people are saying we are together, so that is nice. Let me just look at the Q&A if there's anything there for me to address right now before we move to Pascal is asking platforms for remote jobs. Pascal, are you sufficiently packaged in your skill? Because this is the question that many people ask. Platforms. This information truly will not help you. Because first of all, go and develop yourself. Be so confident in your abilities in whatever that you are doing, and then come and ask that question for platform. Because just a simple Google will give you remote roles in almost every field. A simple Google search. So you don't even need specialized platforms. The goal here is to understand how to develop our skills, how to refine them to the level where we are so confident that if I get a job in this field, I'll not just do the bare minimum. I'll do quite well and quite well in that role. Okay, there are a couple of questions. Let me just answer. I can see Asana is asking, I'm currently a student in the ALX, you are a student in the ALX VA program. After successfully completing the program, are you people who will take my career to the next level? So Asana, first of all, you need to finish that program because this is something I teach in the School of Leadership. There's something you're supposed to learn through school. That is the foundational skills, the foundational knowledge and concepts around what you're doing. So in that place of formal education, which is through a program like ALX, a structured program, you receive foundational knowledge and concepts for the work that you'll be doing. So first of all, complete that program. After you've completed that program, I'll advise you to come and take this video again. Take this video again so that you can now strategically plan how you'll find work in remote role. So you are saying if you are the people who will take your career to the next level, Asana, you are the person who will take your career to the next level. It's not anyone else. It's you. You are the person who will take your career to the next level. And this is something I want us to carry. Please, it's up to you to build the kind of life that you desire. It's not on anyone else. And also, you are the one who will carry the consequences of not intentionally working to make a career for yourself. So it is you, Asena, I believe I'm saying that correctly, who will take your career to the next level. It is you. And everyone else who is here, please, let's carry that understanding. Not anyone else but yourself. Judith is asking, is getting a global volunteer role a step up? So we'll be covering that shortly. So please, let's now move to the next step. So we have done two steps of the grow framework. We've done gauge, then we've done refine. We've seen how to refine. And then I've said this is not the stage where you want to apply for roles. This is not that stage. You don't want to apply because you only carry the bare minimum. And I'll be showing you who a properly, sufficiently packaged professional looks like for remote roles. Then the third step, there was a question around this. The third step is to offer your services in volunteer and entry-level settings. Offer your services in volunteer and entry-level settings. Why am I asking you to do this? After step 2, I said you are not sufficiently packaged because what you carry is just the bare minimum. You just have that foundational, because in the place of formal education, you receive the foundational knowledge and concepts for the work that you'll be doing. The foundational. You've just carried that knowledge. You've still not moved. You've not carried practical application, which is another thing that completes a professional. So when you start offering your services, you start collecting that experience, that practical application. And there's something I wanted to share, but I'll share in the next slide. So let's just hold on. So begin offering your services in entry level and volunteer settings. Here's what you will do. You identify at least 3 organizations that could benefit from your skills. And you need to be very strategic when you do this, because there are some, you're offering yourself for free and you think people will just say, yes, come and offer your skills to me. Um, Come and offer your skills to my organization. There are some organizations like the UN, they don't just take anyone. So when you reach out to them to say, you know what, I'll be offering my services to you for free, they may not even accept you. So identify organizations, and here are the organizations that you want to consider. Local and international NGOs and startups. These are organizations that they need your services. They probably are not in a position to afford them at that moment. So when you come in as a VA, you probably identify a startup and say, I'm going to volunteer and offer my services to that CEO to be the executive assistant. So these organizations, they need your skills. They just can't afford to pay them at that moment. So they are most likely to receive you. And here's the thing. You may think you're actually doing these people a favor. That is something that, quite honestly, people may think, but you are not. Here's the thing, you are not. They are doing you a favor. In your professional build-up, they are doing you a massive, massive favor, because they're giving you an opportunity to translate the knowledge that you have into practical application. And people are hired for that. The people are hired for how they can apply the knowledge that they carry. People are hired for how best they can implement the knowledge that they've received, the foundational concepts. People are hired for that. You are a doctor. You are hired because you're not hired because you know what an illness looks like. You're hired because you know how to treat a particular illness. That is how I can define it. You are hired for doing that. So when you go and ask someone, can I volunteer in your organization, they may even say no. Because first of all, you are coming in with very limited or little practical application. And even if this organization is still not paying you for your services, they still expect top quality services and skills. So they may say, you know what, I'll not take in a volunteer at this moment. I will wait until I'm in a position to hire someone, so that I can hire someone who will come and do a good job for me. Because you can actually be taking an organization back. So you realize that even when you reach out to someone and say, I'm going to volunteer for your organization, they'll examine you. They look at the kind of skills that you have, and they say, you know what, you really don't have the skills to move this organization forward. And as I said, this is how hiring is done. People are not hiring to train you. People are hiring you to move the organization forward. So you can be taking yourself to volunteer to someone, and they say, you know what, you'll come and volunteer. I will not pay you, but I'll have to spend time to train you, to examine your work and things like that. And that in itself is a huge cost and commitment on my part. So I'll not take you even as a volunteer for free. So it's important that even when you go to offer someone your skills in a volunteer setting, make sure that you carry something that is sufficiently developed, something good, something you can be proud of, that even if they say no, it's their loss, it's not your loss. Okay. So you see that this framework is successive. For you to move to step 3, you must have done step 1 and step 2 so well. If you don't do step 1 and step 2 so well, and you go to step 3, you will not have any success at step 3. And I've built this system to be successive, and it's progressive. Yeah, that is the term I wanted to use. So if you're going to offer your services for free, even if you're doing it for free, your skill still needs to be developed, still needs to be sufficiently developed. I will not bring you in as a graphic designer volunteer for my organization in as much as I need it. If I'm not sure that your skill is good, I will not do it. I have a reputation to uphold. I'm building something that I want the world to be proud of, something I'm proud of myself. And If that is the case, that your skill is mediocre, I'd rather not have you on board, because you'll bring other problems. So even if you're going to offer it for free, make sure that you are doing it because you have a sufficient skill to develop. Leave that mentality that I'm going to organizations to learn. No, learn, find ways to learn by yourself, and go to people, go to organizations with something that is sufficiently developed. That is how you grow. So these are the organizations you should target. Startups, they need your services. They cannot probably afford to have those services at that moment. So they are more likely to receive you and give you that opportunity to offer your services and earn something very important, practical application of the knowledge that you carry. So these are the organizations that can benefit from your free services. Free is in quote. It's in quote, and it's intentional, because it may seem you're offering your services for free, but they're giving you much more, giving you so much than you're actually doing for them. So what is the outcome? Why is it important for you to offer your skills in these volunteer settings, in these entry-level settings? Here's the thing. It increases confidence in your skills and abilities. You've graduated, you have that academic background, but are you confident in your skills and ability? That confidence will only come when you apply the knowledge to solve real world problems and actually solve them, to address real world problems and actually solve them. You get that confidence. So when I'm asking you to offer your services for free, you are gaining so much than that organization. You are gaining something called confidence. Professional confidence is very important. Any person who has had the opportunity to recruit, to hire, they can tell you they can see it. They can see confidence and they like it. Anyone who has true professional confidence, it's amazing. It's important, it's amazing. You need to have it. So when you're offering your services for free to that startup, to that NGO, you are gaining confidence in your skill. And confidence is one of the things that will make you stand out. I can tell you from experience, the opportunities that I have gone for in which I was confident, I've almost always ended up landing them. And those opportunities that I applied for that I was not confident in my skills and ability, I missed out on them. And this is the case with so many people. When you carry that confidence, you increase your chances of landing opportunities. And here's the thing. The person who will assess you in that interview, the person who will review your application materials, is someone who is experienced in that field. So if you are a software developer, you're applying for a role in software development, the person who will review your application is not just a person in HR. The person in HR will probably do the due diligence to see if you probably have the permits to work in a particular area and things like that. They'll just do the bare minimum. But the real work will be done by an expert in that area. Someone who will look at your skill, who will look at your CV to determine if you are really good at what you're doing, if you'll come to that organization and move it forward. Okay, so confidence is important, and it can be seen. It can be seen in your application. When I review your CV, I'll know if you are confident in your ability or not. When I look at your portfolio, I can tell if you are confident in your abilities or not. So you cannot say, I'll fake it till I make it. It will not happen. You will not succeed, because the person who will review you, the person who will look at your application, is someone who is confident and knows what they are doing. So that is something I'd advise you to do, to offer your services in volunteer settings, to do it well. It will give you confidence. The second outcome of this step is you gain real world client experience. This strengthens your professional profile. Real world client experience. I said it's not nice to start applying for roles after just refining your skills. It's okay, it's nice, your skill is developed, but you don't have this. You don't have real world client experience. And that is one of the elements of a professional profile that people are looking at, if you carry real world experience. And then in this step, you'll earn a portfolio that you can that you will show to clients to win their confidence that you actually know what you're doing. And then in this step, what will you get? You'll get quality letters of reference, quality referee contacts to enhance your CV. When you come out of college and you start applying for opportunities, at that moment, you have very limited professional experience. So you don't have that much contacts for referees, contacts for references. You may end up adding probably, this is what I did, you add the lecturer who supervised your project, your final year project. But one thing about referees is these are people who need to vouch for your skills. A referee should be someone who can vouch for your competencies, not someone who knows you, not someone who you are related to. Probably you have an uncle who works as a manager in a particular organization. It's true they know you. They know you are someone who works hard, but they cannot vouch for your skills. They cannot say that I have experienced their skill and I can actually recommend that you hire them based on this skill that I've experienced. So the referee that you should add to your CV should be someone who has benefited from your skill and can comment on that skill. And it should be a good comment, not just comment and say, yeah, he came, he offered the skill, but I didn't like it, but that's life. So it should be someone who can comment positively about your skills. So you can realize that many of you are applying for roles without quality referee contacts, without quality letters of reference. So when you start offering your skills in volunteer settings to that NGO, here's the thing. You can tell them that I'm doing this to build up my professional profile. And at the end of this internship, at the end of this volunteer program, I'll be asking you to write a letter of reference for me. I'll be asking you to appoint a referee contact for my CV. And you only offer your skills to that organization when they say yes. So in that mentorship will be, the person who will win the mentorship. We will work with them to see how they can approach NGOs, organizations to offer how to approach them and to actually get them to be accepted in volunteer settings. So here is something that you earn when you take this step 3 very, very seriously. And here's another thing here that I want you to note. When you take this step to offer your services to people who need your skills, you transition from assumed potential to demonstrated potential. What many of you carry is assumed potential. It's assumed you can build a website because you have a degree in software development. But is it demonstrated? Have you actually used those skills to build a website? Is demonstrated potential is what people are hired on. In the remote work space, in the international space, people are not hired for assumed potential. Never. It will not happen. Probably in your local economy where you know someone in a particular office, but in that international space where there is high-level skill, people are hired for demonstrated potential. So you want to take this step very seriously. Find people who can benefit from your skill and services, serve them well so that you can demonstrate your potential. So this is the outcome for this step. This is the outcome of step 3. When you take it seriously, you'll get confidence in your skills and abilities. You'll collect real-world experience. You'll have a solid portfolio. You'll have letters of reference and referee contacts. You'll also have transitioned from assumed potential to demonstrated potential. So you've taken each of these steps, then I can say you are now ready to apply for that role. You are now ready to apply for that role. And this is if you have an academic background that is remote ready, this is where I was taking you to. The ideal profile, the ideal candidate profile for someone who actually lands remote opportunities. First of all, they hold the required educational qualifications and they have mastered the foundational knowledge in their field. So this is how to turn your academic background into remote work. So you hold the required academic qualification, and you have mastered the foundational concepts you need to master in your field. So you realize that you may carry that degree certificate, but you've not mastered the foundational knowledge. So you will go back to step 2, refine your offering, refine through the channels that we shared. And then the second point here for that ideal candidate is they are confident in their ability to perform tasks and responsibilities, not at a mediocre level, but at a high level, at a high standard. The person who learns remote roles is confident in the ability to perform and deliver. The person who learns remote opportunities also possesses relevant experience in contexts similar to the job being advertised. Relevant experience in contexts similar to the job being advertised. This point in itself needs like an hour to explain this point. This point is why many people are not hired. Relevant experience in contexts similar to the job being advertised. I'll just touch on it for a moment. Organizations, individuals hire based on that job description. They don't hire on anything else. When they put up a job description, they are looking to fill a gap in the organization, and that gap is represented by that job description. What are they looking for? What kind of job is that person coming to perform? So when you're applying for your roles, it's important that you show that you have relevant experience in contexts similar to the job being advertised. So this means that when you are applying for roles, you must update every profile that you carry. This can be your CV and your cover letter to match the contexts that are being advertised for. This is something that I will cover in detail with the person who will win that mentorship. I don't have enough time for that. But here's the thing. Just know that every job description is field based. Hirings are done based on that job description. So it's important that when applying for roles, you tell that person or that organization that, you know what, I have relevant experience in context similar to this. Because when you do that, they can determine if you will excel in that role, and they want to make that determination to make that hire. Also, this person has a solid portfolio to showcase impactful past work, impactful past experiences. So just give me a moment, just give me 30 seconds. I believe that break has given you an opportunity to examine this candidate profile and examine yourself to see if you actually match that candidate. So they carry the ideal candidate, the person who learns remote opportunities. They can showcase, they have a solid portfolio that showcases past impactful work and demonstrated capabilities. Your portfolio speaks a lot. And when building a portfolio, you should not just showcase and highlight the work that you've done. Capture the impact of the work that you've done. That is what you want to do. So solid portfolio that showcases past impactful work. And then you are prepared to participate in and excel at interviews, practical tests, and assessments. This is how you learn roles. Are you prepared to participate? Because you can have the foundational knowledge, you can have the experience, you can have the portfolio, but are you prepared to excel at an interview? Ask yourself that question. Are you prepared to participate and excel in that interview? You don't want to be that person who goes at an interview and then you panicking and things like that. You want to be ready. And then lastly, you have a credible referee, a credible reference who can vouch for your skills. This, based on my opinion, is the ideal candidate for landing remote roles. You don't just carry the degree, you don't just carry that certificate. You have more than that. You are confident, in your abilities, you have relevant experiences, you have a solid portfolio, and you can participate and excel at interviews, and then you have credible referees. When you build yourself like this, you increase your chances very much of landing remote roles. But you realize that many people actually hope their way into jobs. They just want they wish they'd be considered for opportunities and things like that. But you ask them, do you have credible referees? They don't have that. Are you prepared to participate in an interview? The answer is no. Is their portfolio showing impactful past work? Not the case. They don't have relevant experiences. They've just not packaged themselves well. So this is the ideal candidate for remote opportunities. So I want us now to do something very serious, something very, very, very serious. We've learned the ideal candidate for remote opportunities, and I want us to make a declaration. Each and every one of us here, we now have 103 participants. I want us to make a personal declaration and say that I will be the most ideal candidate for the next remote job that I apply. I will be the most ideal candidate. And if you are applying for a role and you're not checking the aspect that I shared with you about who an ideal candidate is, just know that you are not the most ideal and you are missing out on this personal declaration. So this personal declaration is those who are committed to building themselves to be the most ideal candidate for the next remote job they apply. This means that the next remote job you'll apply for may not even be tomorrow, because it may have to take you to the place of refinement. It may have to take you to the place of offering your skills in volunteer settings. It may not happen tomorrow, but the next time you apply for that role, you'll make sure that you are the most ideal candidate for that remote job you're applying for. The profile that I shared with you is for the ideal candidate. You want to be the most ideal. When two people who are ideal candidates are weighed together, they'll choose you because you're the most ideal. You have something more than the other candidate is offering. So this is a declaration that I've made for myself. I will be the most ideal candidate for the next remote job I apply for. And I want to invite you to make this personal declaration with me. And I want you to do it in the chat. So if you are with me, you want to make this personal declaration, I want you to write in the chat, I, with your name, and then declare that you'll be the most ideal candidate for the next remote job you apply for. Who is with me? Please, let's use the chat and make this personal declaration. And yeah, Asana is saying that. Thank you so much. I want to share with you the importance of making a declaration like this. It's very, 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 very important. I'll take you back to, I made a couple of declarations like this in 2019 when I started an organization known as Melmax Farm Fresh. It was to grow vegetables for export. So at that time, I had already worked remotely. In fact, I used the money I earned from remote work to set up the farm, and it costed a lot of money. So I said that I made a couple of declarations for myself. I said that I want, through the work that I'm doing, I want international payments. Remember, I was already working remotely. I had earned international payments, but I said through this farm, I will earn international payments. Through this work that I'm doing, I will earn international recognition. Through the work that I'm doing, I made 4 declarations. I will earn international opportunities and I will earn international pay. I said international pay, international opportunity, international travel. I was farming. I know it feels like farming cannot take you around the world, but I said through this farming that I'm doing, I'll earn international travel. I will earn international opportunities, international recognition, and international pay. I can tell you for a fact that I achieved each and every of those declarations. Through the work that I was doing, I was paid to participate in conferences. I was paid to travel and attend programs. I am a Mandela Washington Fellow. That fellowship paid me to learn. I was paid around $1,400 just to participate in that training program, to pay for internet because it was happening online. So these declarations are very important because after making the declaration, now you start working towards achieving it. Through those declarations, I earned international travel. I've traveled because of the work that I did at the farm. I've traveled the world. I've been recognized. Right now, when you just Google Melvin Muna, you'll see organizations have recognized me. Because I knew I needed that credibility as a professional. And I knew if organizations recognize me, then I will earn the profile that I am looking for. So I want you to make this declaration and say that I will be the most ideal candidate for the next remote role. But I don't just want you to end at the declaration. I don't want you to end at the declaration. This is what I want you to do next. And this is one of the resources that I'll be sharing with you, a declaration form. In that declaration form, today we'll do this webinar, all of us. My child has refused to sleep, so probably she'll just be silent and we'll continue. So I know I've taken your time, but please, if you can stay, please stay. I want us to finish this session, and I want to give everything that I have on this topic, and I believe it will help you. Okay, so let me share again. So after making that declaration, I want to thank each and every one of you who has made that declaration. This is what it means. This is what this declaration means. It means you commit to mastering the foundational knowledge in your field. This is not manifesting. I know people can say it's something like manifesting. No, we are quite intentional. We commit to mastering the foundational knowledge in your field. If you've made that declaration, it means you commit to building the confidence you need to perform tasks in your industry at a high level. This means you are committing to gaining relevant experience in your field. This personal declaration means you commit to developing a strong portfolio to showcase impactful work. Impactful work, not just average and mediocre work, impactful work. This means you are preparing yourself to excel in interviews, practical tests, and assessment. It also means you commit to earning credible referees who can vouch for your skills, for your abilities, and the impact of your work. So if you've made that declaration, it does not end there. I remember when I made those declarations, those 4 of them, I went onto another gear, committed to making sure that I'm actually doing the best to earn those opportunities that I desire. So if you've made this, at the end of this session, I'll be asking you guys to request to receive this personal declaration form. And that personal declaration form is one of the resources I'll be sharing. In that form, you'll be answering these questions. How do you commit to mastering knowledge in your field? How do you commit to building confidence? So when you fill that form, I will receive it. I will receive it. I will receive the responses. And I can look at that form and see if you're actually making the right steps to actually be the most ideal candidate who will land opportunities. So I want you at the end to receive this resource and actually fill it and share it with me so that I can receive that information and be that person who will guide you, who will keep you on check to ensure that you are committing yourself to achieving each and every of these things. And that is how we will learn the remote roles. Are we together? Well, this session will be long. So please, I may have to rush through some of these areas, but I believe we will get enough time, in probably upcoming sessions, not in this phase, but in other phases where we will cover these things in greater detail. So I want us to just reflect on that for 10 seconds. I'll be back and okay, so now let's continue and look at applying for these roles. So when applying for this role, there are 2 things that I believe you need to do. First of all, you need to build trust with the potential employer. And the next thing, you need to demonstrate your potential. You build trust with the potential employer by telling them the kind of professional that you are. How many years of experience do you carry? How many jobs have you done in a similar setting? That is how you build trust. And I'll have to rush through this session so that we don't take so much of your time. So I'll be sharing these resources and you want to go through it by yourself. But I believe we'll have sessions to look at, because I'm looking at the next phase, the profiles you need to excel in remote work. And we'll be looking things like how to build a perfect CV, cover letter, LinkedIn profile, and portfolio. So that is the next thing that we'll cover. So you need to build trust with that employer. And after that, you need to demonstrate your potential. So you build trust with an updated CV that highlights your experiences, your skills, and things like that. And then your LinkedIn profile can also help you build trust. And the letters of recommendation that you have, awards and recognitions and things like that. That is how you build trust. Because when you approach someone and say, hey, hire me, they'll first of all be like, I don't know you, I've never met you. But then when you start telling them who you are, what you've done, they start to trust you. And then they can even hear you beyond that and consider you for an opportunity. But that will not be enough. After building trust, the next thing you do is to demonstrate your potential. You demonstrate your potential by highlighting relevant skills and experiences and achievements in similar contexts, okay? Relevant skills, experiences in similar contexts. You demonstrate your potential in that manner. And then how you answer application questions will also help you demonstrate your potential. That is, demonstrating your potential is, you are a software developer, okay, but beyond your experience, I want to see if it's actually applicable to my situation, applicable to my need. So you demonstrate it with how you express yourself through application questions and how you take practical tests and how you excel in interviews. So I'll not spend more time here. Take the notes, they will help you. So the final component of that growth framework don't end after applying and landing a role. It's important for you to build connections with other people in your field. Building connection is important because you gain insights into growth and advancement strategies from professionals who are more experienced than yourself. So people are doing great and amazing things in your line of work. When you enter that field as an entry level, you don't want to stay entry level. You want to advance. So by engaging and connecting and even following people who are more experienced, you learn things like how do you grow and develop yourself to attract better opportunities. You also want to stay updated with emerging trends. And these trends, you learn about them from other people and professionals. So this is when you take that step to weave, which is the W in our growth framework, you gain these insights. So you don't just, because you may stay entry level if you're not engaging with people. You'll not learn how the industry is moving and things like that. So I was supposed to give you a break time, but I believe I've given you enough break times already. So we'll just proceed. So the final part is how to turn an academic background that is not remote ready. So you can see the profile here is that of a doctor. That academic background is truly not remote ready. But that is not to mean you cannot serve remotely. That is not to mean you cannot excel, you cannot create remote work opportunities for yourself. So here, what defines this background? First of all, most of these roles are not performed remotely. They just are not performed remotely most of the times. And then they're not usually recruited for through remote positions. Okay, so you are a nurse, you'll never hear we are looking for a remote nurse, not commonly. But don't let that not scare you. I'll be showing you how you can create remote opportunities for yourself. And then the core tasks need to be done in an in-person setting. Most of their core tasks, they need to be done in an in-person setting. For example, a doctor, they need to be in an hospital to treat, but that is not all that a doctor can do. So there's a chance you can earn remote work opportunities for yourself, even if your background is not remote ready. And also, compared to what we covered in the remote ready background, here the professionals, they've not embraced it. The professionals themselves, most of them, have not embraced remote work. They're still working from an office. So we want to see how can we turn that to remote work. It seems complex, but bear with me. In the next few slides, you'll learn how that's done. Examples there include accounting, architecture, medicine, and law. These are traditional jobs that are done in an office. Accounting, most accountants work from an office, same with architecture, doctors, and even lawyers. So the strategy here is through building a public profile. If you are going to turn a background that is not remote ready, it's about you'll have to create opportunities for yourself. People are online, the world is online, your client is online, your employer is online. So you need to create a profile that will convince them to hire you, to hire you to serve remotely. So as you're building that profile, who are you building for? And this is, I'll have a session on you on LinkedIn, I think in the next coming phase. I want to have a very thorough and serious section on LinkedIn. So you want to build a public profile to attract customers, clients who can hire you for remote jobs. They give you remote jobs and remote projects. So these are the people that you are building for. So it means that as you are creating content on LinkedIn, as you are sharing information on LinkedIn, you are building for these people. You are not building for anyone else. You're not building to flex or among your peers that you are doing well than them. It's important to understand who you are building for because it will inform the kind of content you create. So you are building for people who can give you jobs. You are building also for your professional network. You are creating content for people who can recommend you for opportunities, remote opportunities, and even collaborate with you on projects. So remember here, you are not angling specifically to be employed in an organization. You are probably looking to be hired for a consultation and things like that. A collaboration, probably someone needs an expertise from a professional like yourself, from your country, and things like that. And you're the best person they found online who can actually help them in that area. So you are building for your professional network so that they can recommend you for opportunities, collaborate with you. So what do these people want to see? First of all, they want to understand what you're doing, clarity on what you do. If you are a lawyer and you're looking to create remote opportunities for yourself, people must know that you are a lawyer. They must know what you do. What are you specializing in? What field of law? So in the kind of post that you do, it must be clear, first of all, where your expertise lies. And then you must carry proof of competence. Remember, you are trying to convince people who are not really inclined to hiring remotely or for that talent, for that skill remotely. They're not, first of all, they don't even think it can be done. So it must be so clear, so evident that you are competent in what you're doing, such that someone can say, you know what, I want to work with this guy. I just want to work with them. They know what they're doing. They may not be in the same place as me, but I believe with technology, we can actually collaborate on a project. And I'm going to give you an example. You are looking for an architect to give you structural drawings. The thing is, you don't really need to work with an architect who is in an office in your local area. What that architect needs is they need measurements of the piece of land that you carry, the topography and things like that, and then your ideal structure. You can just send them a sketch, and then they can give you that structural drawing that you can use to get approvals for projects like that. And they can even stamp it for you to show that that assessment, that drawing has been done by a certified professional. So competence is very important. It needs to be evident you know what you're doing. If someone is ever going to consider you for a remote opportunity, for a background that is not remote ready, they need to see credibility. Do you carry feedback, testimonials from people who've seen you work? And this feedback can be from it doesn't have to be work that you've done remotely. It can be even for work that you have done in an in-person setting. So after doing all of that, you need to show that you are remote ready. You need to show that you are remote ready. That if someone gives you an opportunity, you are a lawyer, someone needs to consult on a particular issue, are they confident that if they engage you remotely that you can serve them effectively? So you need to show evidence that you are remote ready. You are ready to serve effectively in a remote setting. You can say that. So it's important that when you are creating your post, you show people how you will engage them remotely, how you will be able to consult them. Do you have an online meeting platform for this kind of setting, for this kind of meetings? Do you understand collaboration tools and how they have done? Because you'll need to share documents, you'll need to send things here and there. Do you know how to do that effectively? So you must demonstrate your remote readiness. And when you do this, you have a chance of earning remote opportunities for yourself, creating these opportunities for yourself. And I'm not blindly asking you to do this. This is something that I have done. I've given someone an opportunity. I had a housing project that I was building, and the engineer that created for me the structural drawing, I did not have that an interaction face to face. We just communicated on phone. Of course, it's in Kenya, but that whole engagement happened remotely. So they asked me, okay, send me pictures of that piece of land so that I can understand the topography and layout. Then on a piece of paper, just draw the sketch, add the measurements there, things like that. And I did that, and then they gave me the structural drawing, and they say, so what you need to do next, I'll stamp it and scan it to you. And I got my structural drawings. So it can be done. And this is how you need to do it. So be clear on what you're doing, carry competence, credibility, and demonstrate remote readiness. So when you're posting, you want to highlight projects that you've done. You want to showcase the results. If you're going to convince people to hire you for remote opportunities, if you have feedback, please post that. Impact metrics from the work that you've done, please post that. And also, you want to stand out as a thought leader. So the content you create should show your thought leadership in that area. And then finish up by saying how people can reach you. So here is an example. You can be a doctor. You can offer your services, consultancy services remotely. So you need to be there on LinkedIn, showing how you work on projects and assignments, showing people how the successes that you carry, how you've helped people, how they've been helped by your services. And then be open to remote opportunities by saying, hey, you know what, I'm able to consult on your health issue. You just need to book this session here with me. We'll have this discussion, and this is what we'll achieve. So just to finish up, what are the benefits of doing this? When people come to you, you're the only person being considered. When someone comes to you online and say, I like your work, they're not considering anyone else. You are the only person being considered. It's also very less competitive because compared to job applications that are open for everyone, because you are the only one being considered. It requires a lot of effort, but the rewards are quite high because that opportunity that comes is just for you and you yourself. Okay, so to conclude, your academic background can be turned to remote work, and we've seen how that can be done. So it's quite important you refine your skills. It's important for you to refine your skills to a high level. And if your background is not remote ready, build a public profile.
Beyond the skies, you and I, we're breaking bounds on bounds.